Welcome to the Tay and Todd Washington Commanders podcast, and we are back at it, Todd. We are
hmm
September third right now,
Third,
and
yeah,
it's we can smell it in the air. Fall weather's here. First game
yep,
Thursday, first Commanders game Sunday. Todd, how you feeling?
dude. I can't believe. I don't know. It feels like the off season went fast. Also feels like it's been forever since we saw. I just can't believe it's here. I'm super excited about the football, about the weather. The weather is amazing here in DC this week. It's
Yes,
incredible. You've got a game on Thursday. You got a game on Friday. We play on Sunday. We play at 4:25. I mean, just a
yes,
fantastic opening weekend. And I love, that we're playing the Bucks. Like it's someone where it's like, yeah, they are kind of better than you. They definitely were last year. Playoff team, won the first round, but
Mhm.
also they're a team where you feel like maybe you can come out and beat them week
For
one
sure.
and feel pretty good going into week two against the Giants. So I'm super excited. I'm excited to be. I mean, it's been a fantastic offseason.
Yeah,
And not because they built a Super Bowl team this year, but this is the first thing. This is the first year where there is a Washington team
man.
that had nothing about Dan Snyder is on
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Every decision that was made this offseason, the root of it was not Dan Snyder. This is the first non-Dan Snyder Washington football team to play in 25 years.
yeah.
So I can't wait, man. How are you feel?
Man, I'm good. I was thinking back to last year and all the pods that we did and how we
Mm,
went over quarterbacks so many times, and the
so
fact that
much, so
that's
much.
not even a question no more, man. It's just
Right, right.
such a relief, man. So I'm pumped.
It
I'm ready to
is.
roll.
This is the first time since 2012 RG3 that the Commanders
Yeah,
are starting a rookie quarterback week one,
yeah,
and this is not a rest in peace Dwayne Haskins situation. It's not even an RG3 situation. I mean, this is the first time you got a guy and you've got a staff and a head coach and a GM who are
yeah,
in lockstep with the owner who is invest. It's just totally different, and so I hope more than anything it looks different on the field,
for
which
sure.
doesn't mean necessarily making it to the NFC Championship game. It just means
Right,
being not in, not an embarrassment.
right.
So we've got a lot of making up to do, and we won't be able to make up for it. All we can do is be consistent in the future. So, um, game is on Sunday. It's Tuesday, September 3rd, and we've got, I guess, five, you could say, topics we want to touch on. Um, thing we're most confident about going into this season. The thing we feel, we gives us the best chance to win games. If we feel optimistic, what is the reason why?
Mhm.
The thing we're most concerned about going into the season, the biggest weakness. We're going to make our record predictions for the team. We're going to
Mhm.
make stat predictions for Jayden Daniels, and then we're each going to make one bold prediction. So, Tay, would you like to start us off with your most confident reason for a positive season in 2024 for the Commanders?
I think the expectation. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
we're playing with house money all year, in a sense where you have new head coach, you have new quarterback, you have brand new everything, GM, and it's the
Mm-hmm.
fact of not having that pressure,
Yeah.
of having to like last year we're like, oh, we got to win week one. Like, are we gonna win week one? Like previous years. Now we're just like, we
Yeah.
just want to see progress. We want to see the team
Right.
tackling. We need to
Right.
see steps, development. That's a big phrase
Yeah.
with this new group. So I think I'm most confident in the development of the players and the coaching
Mhm.
staff. That's what I really really like, and I think that's those two things are going to give us success. I think throughout the year we're going to see guys who
Mhm.
improve um, throughout the season as opposed to um, Derek Forrest,
Guys getting
2
worse.
games and then he disappears for the rest of the season. So that's what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
confident in is the coaching staff and then the developmental process. They seem like they take it very, very seriously. So
That's a good one. That's a very good one. Coaching was a major issue for the
yes.
last 4 years, especially last year for sure. I think I'm going to say my biggest reason for optimism, which I guess I kind of touched on. It's like you'd say Jayden Daniels, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the top and say I'm going to say it's Josh Harris owning the team. Um, it's like there was just a curse and a dark cloud over the organization that no matter how much you try, it trickled all the way down to the play on the field.
Right.
And I think that it was only getting worse and worse and worse with each passing year. And last year was the worst iteration of that. And it was, I mean,
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that Dan Snyder hired Ron Rivera, it was his pick and his pick alone, and he didn't interview anyone else, and all these things. Then the staff that Rivera brought in, all that. It's just everything that happened started at the very top,
Hmm.
and it was honestly like there was a curse on the team
Yeah.
from Dan Snyder owning it, which I think it really wasn't a curse. I don't think it was any magic or voodoo. I think it was just a horribly run business at the top. It's going to show in the way you are able to see the business visually. For us, that's the football team.
Hmm.
Um, and so last year we still underestimate, and people probably still, I think we all misremember how bad the team was. It was worse than the record. It was worse than 4-13. The games that they won, they barely won. They got blown out like 7 times. Like, it was a horrible, horrible year. There's been so much optimism this offseason. I think we've kind of forgotten about that,
Yeah, for
which
sure.
is good. But so I'm gonna say the biggest reason for optimism last year was like the culmination of Dan Snyder's ownership. I know he wasn't the owner last season, but we know that that was his team that he had put together
Oh
last
yeah, definitely.
year. Josh Harris had nothing to do with that. And now this year being the first year where it's like the curse is lifted and you can go out and just play football.
Hmm.
That's my biggest reason for optimism. I think that that will show on the field, even if it doesn't mean playoffs, even if it doesn't mean a winning record. I think it will show by the way that they compete.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I feel like, no offense to Ricky Pearsall, I hope he's good. Hope he comes back.
Yeah,
One of my
sounds like
favorite
he
players.
is.
But I feel
All
like,
right. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I'm pulling for him. He's a
yeah,
dog.
yeah,
But I
for
feel
sure.
like, that if Snyder was in, charge, that
That
would
would
have
have
been
been
a player of
that would
us.
have been Jayden.
Right,
Jayden Daniels. It was Brian Robinson
right.
for
So
sure.
I,
Yeah,
I feel you on that, man. It just seems like a breath of fresh air. It just feels like straight football. Like we're fans of a
straight
football team
football.
instead of a soap opera.
Yes, right, right. Just no, we're not worried about any business
No,
things or any DEA or any legal or any investigations. Like
yeah,
I promise you, players are human, coaches are human, and existing in a toxic culture it weighs on any and everyone. And I think
right,
that that was just a big part of it. So that's definitely my biggest reason. And we know some changes they're making. We've seen some stuff around the stadium, around the practice facility, but I'm sure there's small things that we don't hear about that are making a big difference.
right.
But that's the negative. Sorry, no, that's the positive. What is the thing that is most concerning for you about this team, considering it's a rebuild, considering they were so bad last year? What is your biggest concern for
The
2024?
most concern I would say it's not really a concern. It's just part of taking over a bad roster. I would just say the secondary.
Yeah,
Um,
that's an easy one.
it's it's
Yeah,
it's terrible, and um, but
cornerback specifically.
yeah, literally the cornerbacks. I like the
Yeah,
safeties. It's just the cornerbacks. So let me just say, not
yeah.
say the secondary, but let me just say the cornerbacks. I feel like we don't have
Hmm.
number one. Um, outside of Samerstill, I think the outside. So let
Yeah,
me just so the outside corners. I think
yeah.
Samerstill's good. I think the safeties are good, but the outside corners scare me,
Hmm.
considering
Scare
we
me.
got torched there last year with AJ Brown and
Right,
any number
right.
one receiver we faced went
Yeah.
off. DJ Moore Thursday night. I mean,
Whew,
it's
200 yards.
bad. So that's the
Yeah,
biggest concern out of every single thing. Everything else, I love how um, everything is going. I just think the secondary outside corners specifically are going to, we're in for a long year unless
yeah,
Forbes and Davis and St. Juice can kind of turn it around. Hopefully the pressure can kind of dictate
right.
that. We'll see.
Yeah, that was gonna be mine because it's like there's only so much you can do to hide it. Like you're really asking
Yeah.
the pass rush to really like every time the quarterback
Right.
drops back, uh, not have time to throw or really disguise, but the disguising get tricky because everyone has to be on the same page, and so definitely a lot on Joe Witt to mask
Yeah.
that. You hope that Forbes and St. Juice that may not be great players, but hopefully what we saw last year was a byproduct of how bad the coaching was. And I mean,
Yeah.
you've got Quan Martin one-on-one against Tyreek Hill. You've got Emmanuel Forbes one-on-one against AJ Brown. So you're hoping stuff like that doesn't happen, but that's a good one. So since you said that one, my second one is it's the offensive tackles. It's not really so much the interior of the line. I think Biotish is solid. Allegretti, I don't know, but Cosme is really solid as well. That interior is not really what concerns me a whole lot. Brandon Coleman, we've never seen. He's a third round rookie. I mean, much people had him as a guard coming out. Adam Peters said we think he's a tackle.
Yeah.
And in 2020, 2, I thought he played well, a tackle for TCU.
Yeah.
And last year played guard. He looked worse at guard to me in 23 than he did at tackle in 2022 to me at TCU. But he's just a third round rookie. You just don't know. And left tackle is kind of a premium position where you can, guys, there's left tackles in the league who are good or solid from all over the draft. But really, the really good guys were the ones taken at the very top of the draft for the most part. So, and then if it's not him, it's Cornelius Lucas. There's a reason he's kind of been a career backup swing guy. Not really what you want at left tackle. What you want at left tackle is the guy that Ron Rivera traded away for, a third and a fifth, who just signed a big deal with the 49ers. So that, and then Wiley, I think, is a major, major concern. He improved over the second half of last year, but saying that is kind of like saying instead of it being diarrhea, it was a solid poop. You know what I mean? Like it was like you were so bad to start that you got better, but so and then when we saw in the preseason, I know it was his first time playing, very small sample, but you have 2 penalties on one drive in a preseason.
He's notorious for the penalties, man.
It's insane. I doubt that he'll be here next year. I doubt he's in their long-term plans, but it was probably easier to keep him and made sense for them. But I'm concerned about the edges. What we saw in the preseason, which was probably not a really great representation of the offense, right? It's not going to be that college gimmicky quick. Like you can't be that fast in the NFL. It'll be to some degree tempo and screens and whatnot and get the ball out quick. It's not going to be Jayden's going to have to drop back and read the defense at some point. And so I'm worried about the tackle. So that's my biggest concern. And then, I mean, if one of them gets hurt, you go from bad to worse. So I would say that offensive tackle is my biggest concern, especially because it affects the quarterback so much. So that one we'll just have to see how that plays out. But secondary offensive tackle, I think most people watching this or listening would agree that those are their biggest concerns on the field. Right? I don't have any concerns off the field that isn't specifically players on the field. I want to see what Cliff Kingsbury is going to be like. People have questions about him. Joe Witt, it's his first time as a defensive coordinator. You've got other things, but I think the ones we named are the top 2. Third is maybe wide receiver.
Yeah, definitely.
But every team has their concerns going into the season. This team in particular, coming off a rebuild, I mean, they've got the most turnover of any team by far from last season to this season in terms of roster. So we really, I mean, we're going to predict, record, but we have no idea what this team is because it's so many new players. I think I counted 16 new starters. Obviously, we know that we say 22 starters, but there's really more than 22 starters. There's like 24, 25 starters, right? So, I mean, if we count them out real quick, quarterback, third down running back, left, and I'm going starters from either the beginning of last year or primarily last season, right? Quarterback, third down running back, left tackle, left guard, center, that's 5. Tight end, tight end 1, that's 6. Wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, like slot receiver, that's a starter to me, that's 8. So that's 8 on offense, right? And then on defense, both defensive ends, that's 10. Wagner and Luvu, that's 12. And if you are in base, it's I think Dante Fowler. So that's
Dante Fowler.
Sandra Still, that's 14. Quan Martin did not start last season. To the season, and at some point he played, but he wasn't a bona fide starter. That's 15. And Shin, that's 16. Kick returner, punt returner new. Kickers new, like long snappers new, like Trustway. So your returning starters are Brian Robinson, Cosme Wiley, McLaurin, Payne Allen. I guess I like St. Juice, Forbes. I don't know that he's starting.
Yeah, I guess so.
We'll say Forbes.
Yeah.
And Tressway, if we include special teams. I mean, that's 9 out of 27, 28.
Wow, that's crazy.
So that's crazy. So we just have no clue what this team will be. So I mean, it's fair to have some concerns about what we know, but there's so much we don't know. And hopefully this time what we don't know will ultimately be positive once we figure it out.
Yes.
So let's move on then to our record predictions. And let's do it let's go game by game. You want to go game by game?
Yeah, let's do it.
You keep track of yours. I'll keep track of mine.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so let me just pull up a little note here or something. All right, week 1, Buccaneers. Win, loss.
My homer wants to say win, but I'm gonna go loss.
Fair. I think I'm going to say loss. I mean, just everything is so new. It's not even just the players learning how to play together. It's everyone learning how to do everything together.
Mhm.
I think that they will put up a fight, but I think they'll have to learn how to close out games. And so
Yep.
maybe if some close games, which I think it may be a close game,
Yeah.
you got a team that's coming off the playoffs with a lot of cohesion in everything, coaching staff and players. They lost their offensive coordinator, right, Canales, but so I'm going to say 0-1 to start the season. So you're saying 0-1. Week 2, Giants.
I think we're gonna smack them.
Okay, yeah, it's now you want to show that things are different. Beat the Giants bad because that's what they've been doing to the Redskins, Washington football team, Commanders for years now.
I think Dan Quinn's
okay.
8-0 against them.
Is he really?
I think so.
Okay, I mean,
there's
just no reason for Daniel Jones to continue to do what he's done. Jack Del Rio's gone, Ron Rivera's gone, so just beat him. It's your first home game with everything with Jayden. Just win it. Week 3, Monday Night Football, Bengals. I'm gonna say loss, but the Bengals aren't some powerhouse to me. Like especially to start the season, they tend to start slow. Tends to start slow. So what are you saying?
I'm gonna say loss, but I think that's definitely a game where they can like surprise.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. What I don't want to do is get to the end of this and have them like 11-6. So
no, so I got them as a loss. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, me too. Right. Week 4 at Cardinals. I'm gonna say win.
I'm gonna say win. Jayden going back to Arizona. I think he's gonna want to put on a show. Cliff got revenge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Kyler's obviously a good player. Coming back, he came back middle last season, so his first time kind of coming back to start a season. And they're a young team too that's also figuring things out. Marvin Harrison Jr. and whatnot, but I'll say win. Week 5, home against the Browns. Deshaun Watson, if he's playing, what do you got? Win or loss, Browns. Obviously, their defense was very good last year, but that's hard to repeat year over year.
I'm gonna say loss.
I'll probably say loss too. I mean, the Browns have a solid team. I mean, they were, Joe Flacco was winning games for them, and I think they've got a good coach too in Stefanski. So I'll say loss to Cleveland. That's 2-3. I think we are in agreement on everything so far. So we're both at 2-3. Week 6, Ravens.
Loss.
I'm also going to say loss just because, I mean, that's a good Ravens team.
Yeah.
And again, this is a rebuild. I don't want anyone to be saying we're being negative.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it real. Week 7, Panthers should absolutely be a win.
Yeah, that's a win.
It should. There's a team that is should be undoubtedly worse. There's a couple teams. I mean, the Panthers just from ownership down. Canales, first time coach. He may be a good coach, but first time coach, terrible owner. Figuring out what Bryce Young is, offensive line stuff. So 3-4 right now. We're 3-4, and then week 8, Bears. Caleb Williams coming to DC. That Northwest Stadium. You got used to that yet?
I know, that's crazy. Northwest Stadium. I have not.
Imagine telling in 2019 a then Dan Snyder owned Redskins fan where they play at FedEx Field that in 2024 the Washington the Josh Harris owned Washington Commanders will be playing at Northwest Stadium.
Northwest Stadium. That's crazy.
It's crazy, but I think there's no good memories of FedEx Field.
Yeah,
that term has nothing positive attached to it, so I'm glad that it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm actually really happy about that. Sorry, Bears, week 8. What do you got?
That's a tough one, man. I think the Bears defense is going to be very good this year.
They've got some weapons on offense too. They've got some weapons.
Bears going to win. Bears going to win. Bears. I got the Bears.
You know what? I'm going to say the Commanders win. So you've got us at 3-5. I've got us at 4-4. I'm going to say I don't know, whatever the reasons may be, it'll be a big one. Obviously, Jayden versus Caleb, but I'm going to say that the Commanders finding their groove, finding their rhythm, and they find a way to pull it off. After the Bears, you've got at the Giants. Sweep. Are you calling for the sweep?
Yes, very yes.
Yeah.
I'm
So
going for the
I'm
sweep.
four
Four
and
and five for
five.
me.
I've got 5-4. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go sweep as well. The Giants are just. I know. I know. The Giants are not good. They've got Malik Neighbors.
Hmm.
They've got a couple. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Branch. Did I make that up? Did I?
Who?
Brian Branch?
Uh,
No.
no,
I think
not
I'm
Brian
thinking the
Branch.
wrong
They have
person. No.
who's
No.
the
No.
dude that they just got? Brian Burns.
Okay. No. Yeah. Brian Burns. That's right. Lawrence Burns in the secondary.
Secondary, they got
Um. Um. uh, Not
Adoree
Brian Branch.
Jackson.
Safety that they traded for. It was part of the trade, whatever. Anyway, they've got a couple players, and like you said, I forget Brian Burns, but Daniel Jones. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna say win for the Commanders this week there. Week 10, Steelers. I mean, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields.
I'm calling a win there. So,
Okay, you've got 5-5. I'm
are we
gonna
win?
say a
Are we home?
loss.
Are we home?
We are at Northwest Stadium.
Yeah, we're taking that. We're going. Yeah,
Okay. I'm going to say loss. If it's Russell Wilson, well, I mean, we've the Commanders, the Redskins, all of them have had to cut some success against Russell Wilson. Not that that matters. I'll just go with coaching in this one. Mike Tomlin. I don't know. I'm just going to say 5-5. We're both at 5-5 now. Now, first game at the Eagles.
at the Eagles. That's Sunday night, right?
It is Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna win.
Tay's got a win. So you've got 6-5. I will go loss. I'm gonna go loss 5-6. Um, I'm gonna go loss on the road in Philly on Thursday night. Just the more experienced team against the younger team, and then you come back the next week against the Cowboys at home. And I mean that's kind of a big one to me, right? You're trying to reestablish your place in the division. This is your rival that has really not been a rival for a while because we haven't been able to compete with them seriously. I'm gonna say win.
I'm gonna say win too.
Okay, so you've got 7-5.
Hmm.
I've got 6-6. At home, you beat Dallas. You got Titans at home.
Mm.
Will Levis, what do the Titans really have going on?
Nothing. I mean,
Will Levis,
offense is solid, but it's not. The offensive line is going to be good. I can see us. I'm not scared of them, but I think we end up losing that game. Physical game. I can see
yeah,
their
okay.
offense.
You got a loss seven and
Cooking us.
six. I mean, and I need to do my review to recap all the changes that have happened with all these teams. The Titans are one of those teams way on the outskirts for me.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm having a lot of trouble. Obviously, Derrick Henry's not there. And they're one of the teams you heard nothing about all offseason.
yeah,
I
yeah.
heard nothing about the Titans. Did they do anything
Yeah,
all offseason other than trade Derrick Henry?
they got Pollard,
Who's the receiver? They signed
Pollard,
Pollard.
Calvin Ridley.
Ridley. Yes,
Yeah,
that's who it is. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
and then they got offensive attack. Their offensive line. They got Brian Callahan as offensive line. I think they're
As
going to
line
be very
coach.
good.
Right, right.
Yeah, I think they're going to be good. And they got
Man,
Callahan as the coach. I think from
yes. Because there
since
was a weird sort of the way they dismissed Vrabel. That was
yeah,
this
yeah,
year,
yeah, 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 yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah, and it was all kind of weird. Man, Titans, but they just. I am going to say win 7-6. Man, okay, how many games left? That's 13. Okay, 4 games left. All right, bye week 14, super late bye at Saints in the Superdome.
We
Derek
win.
Carr, Dennis Allen. I think
They're in
Dennis Allen
contention
might
for the
be
number one
gone
pick.
by then.
They're
Huh?
in contention for the number one pick.
Yeah, I kind of agree. You got to win.
Yeah, I gotta win.
8-6, man.
Jayden back in
Eight and
New
six.
Orleans, Louisiana.
I'm gonna switch the Titans to a loss, put them at 6-7, and then do win against the Saints and do 7-7. So you've got 8-6, I've got 7-7. Week 15, headed into week 16, Eagles now at home in Northwest Stadium.
Loss for me.
Okay. 8-7. I think I will go loss as well, 7-8. This will be, the Eagles probably playing for the. They
Mhm.
could be playing for the division, for the number 1 or 2 seed in the conference.
Yeah.
I'll say lost there, and you get swept by the Eagles. They're a better team right now. Falcons, week 17.
Loss
Kirk
at now.
Cousins at it's at Northwest Stadium.
Oh,
I'm
but no,
saying the
I don't
Northwest
think we're
Stadium
gonna
a lot.
win. I don't know. Dan
Kirk
Quinn might put 'em
Cousins, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. No more Desmond Ritter. I doubt it'll be Michael Penix there. Raheem Moore's first year.
yeah. I got the
Mm,
Falcons winning that.
okay, so you got 8-8. I think I'll go. I think I will go win eight
Mm,
and eight, and this is probably just because they've beat them the last couple times.
yeah, true.
Kirk late in the season,
Yeah,
late season playoffs on the line. Kirk maybe
true, true,
not the
true.
best version of Kirk, so we're both at 8-8, and then week 18 at Dallas.
I
No
think
time set. Week 17 and 18, actually, the day and time are not set. At Dallas, I mean, say, Tay, let's just talk this real quick. If the Commanders are 8-8 headed into week 18, they could very well be in a win and in, or a win with a win and a little help situation
yeah,
for the 7th seed.
yeah. I
Um,
got them.
I good.
I'm trying to think.
I don't want to predict like a heartbreaking loss to Dallas that eliminates you the playoffs from in the first
It's
year
at
of Jayden
Dallas.
Daniels and Dan Quinn. It's at Dallas, yeah.
I think.
And if it's an important game, it will be prime time. It'll be Saturday or Sunday
Yeah.
night or something. Game of the week.
You see, Dallas doesn't scare me. They're like one injury away from being like,
Dallas doesn't scare me either. I just, and I'm trying to be rational about the prediction, and 9 wins is definitely on the high end for me in my
it is.
prediction.
It is.
Like, I didn't quite want to get some 9 games, but when I look at the schedule, so much changes over the course of a season
Yeah.
with injuries and everything. But I'm gonna go the optimistic route and say win.
I'm gonna say
I
win.
just don't want to predict such a negative outcome. I mean, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah.
First year, I think if they're 8-8, headed into week 18,
Yeah.
that's a really good season for this team
Really good
coming off of
season.
last year and everything. So this is not where I intend to end up, but I'm gonna go 9-8. That's 5 more wins than last year. Now, like I
Yeah.
said, they were worse than 4 wins to me last year. I mean, they were what, 6-6 at one point or something last year, or
Yeah.
5-6, whatever. That Seahawks game was the one where that turned the
Right.
tide,
Yeah, that was
because
it.
they were kind of in the middle of the playoff, like 7 or 6 seed race.
Mhm.
And then on one hand, I'm like, if that team, as bad as that team was, could win 4 games,
Yeah.
I don't see how you couldn't win more than that. So we both got 9-8.
Yeah, I'm at 9-8.
Okay, 9-8. I won't say I'm completely comfortable with that. I was probably more leaning 7-10, eight
Yeah,
and nine, but
yeah.
this is where we ended up after looking at the schedule. So the Tay and Todd team record prediction for the 2024 season, both separately, with different wins and losses, is 9-8, with a
9-8.
win week 18 against Dallas in
Yeah.
a potentially playoff and a likely playoff implications game. I mean, that'd be a great first season for Josh Harris, for Dan Quinn, for Jayden Daniels. That would be fantastic.
Kinda sort of reminds me of that Detroit Lions before they started. They barely made it. They barely
Right,
missed.
where they kind of snuck in,
Yeah.
or they barely missed it.
They
You're
missed it, and then
right.
the next year they made it. I feel
You're
like that'd
right.
be the
You're right.
same. They lost a lot of close games. That's how I
Yeah.
envision this year going, where we lose a lot
Yeah.
of close games, where we're just almost there, and then
Right.
next year they take the step.
You can taste it. You can see it,
Yeah,
but you can't touch it yet. And I mean, if you beat Dallas and say you needed help and you don't get the help you needed, so you don't make it,
I'll be
I
perfectly
still
fine.
think you've had a really
Yeah.
strong season
Oh, yeah.
to start this era. Um, 9-8. So that's our record prediction. Now let's go to Jayden Daniels. Its stats prediction. Let's start off with passing yards. What is your number for Jayden Daniels passing yards?
What is Stroud had, what, 4,500 his first year?
CJ Stroud stats. Let me see. It was something. It was 4,100.
41.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 32, 3,200.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just
Uh,
gonna pull it up real quick. Go ahead.
3,200. I'm gonna say 20, 20 touchdowns and about six
Well,
interceptions.
so let me. I'll do my yards.
Okay.
You said sorry. You said 3,200 passing yards,
Uh-huh.
20 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Passing. Okay. All right. Yeah. Bryce Young at 2,800, CJ Stroud at 4,100. Let me go to 2022. Attempts just to kind of get a frame of reference. Kenny Pickett had 2,400. He didn't start the full season.
Right.
So we have to go back really to probably 2021 to see some guys who started, like the whole season, aside from Stroud, and then Bryce Young didn't have a great year. Trevor Lawrence had 600 attempts, 3,600 yards. Mac Jones had 521, 3,800 yards for Mac Jones.
Mm.
They're the ones who started every game that season. I'll go back a little bit further. 2018 was another big class, right? So
What
let's
about 20
see.
with Chase?
Say that again.
What,
Oh yeah, I'll do 2020 because Herbert and Burrow. Well, Burrow got hurt. Burrow got hurt, so
right.
Herbert probably the main one to look at. Baker had 3,700, and he didn't start. He started 14 games.
Mm.
Darnold, and it's kind of funny because we make these predictions, and I mean that's fine and all, but not a lot of rookie quarterbacks come out the gate starting every week
Yeah.
and really lighting it up, which is why Herbert and Stroud really stand out. Kyler he started every game. He had 3,700 yards.
Okay.
And 20 touchdowns, 12 picks. And then let me do one more. 2020 was, right?
Mm-hmm.
2020. Let's see. Of course, Tua did not start every game. Herbert started 15 games, basically all year. He had 4,300 and 31 touchdowns and 10 picks. I mean, that's insane.
Oh my goodness.
Joe Burrow in 10 games at 2,600. He was on track for a really solid season. To at 1,800. I'm gonna say for Jayden, because we did the passing yards, we're gonna do rushing. I'm gonna say probably 3,300 passing yards. I'll say 19 touchdowns and 9 picks. Like a more modest passing stat line. Like he passes the eye test.
Yeah.
And he's efficient, but I'm not expecting a CJ Stroud type of year.
Yeah. No.
Not being negative. I mean, come on, but there's a reason why it was such a big deal. It's because it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So 3,300 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, 9 interceptions.
Yeah.
I'll say 8 interceptions because he does protect the ball well. So you've got 3,200, 20 and 6.
Yeah, 20 and 6.
I've got 3,300, 19 and 8. And I think that his completion percentage numbers, his yards per attempt, I think those are going to be on the higher end. I think it'll be more of a rushing, a lot of reliance on the running game.
Yeah.
Which is why his numbers will be modest, but I think he'll be very efficient, completing 67%, maybe of his passes, averaging high 7s, low 8s per attempt. And then rushing yards and touchdowns.
See, this is tricky because
you don't want
to. I don't want him running.
You don't want him running like crazy.
I want him to have 1,000 yards rushing, but it'll be like
1,000 yards. I don't know. Does he make it to 1,000 yards physically?
I would say about 500. Let's just call it 500.
500. Okay.
500.
Real quick.
Let's say 5 rushing touchdowns.
Okay. Gotcha. 505. Let's see.
What did he have in college?
I think. This past year he had, I think it was 1,000, but college deducts sacks from rushing yards.
Okay.
So I think he had 1,000, but technically he had less than that. But I got it. Let me see. Jayden Daniels 2023 stats. He had 3,800 passing yards. No, I think he did have 1,000 rushing yards.
He did have 1,000. Yeah.
Let me see. Passing, rushing. Where's rushing? He had 1,134. Yeah, he did have 1,000 rushing on 135 attempts, 8.4 average. That's he had more attempts in 2022. He had 186, 50 more attempts and 885 yards. He's averaging half as much per run the year before.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him about 500 and about 5 to 7 touchdowns rushing.
Yeah, I'll probably go higher. I'll probably go 650 rushing yards because I think if I said 3,300, I think he'll be close to 4,000 total yards.
All purpose. Yeah.
I think he'll be all purpose, 3,350 passing, 650 rushing, something like that. So I will say 650 rushing, and I'm going to say 7 rushing touchdowns. Like I think
Okay.
he'll really show his value as a runner early on, especially
Yeah.
because I don't think those numbers will necessarily go higher.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll get lower as his career goes on. But all right, so just to recap, you had passing
3,200,
rushing.
3,200 passing, 20 touchdowns passing, and 6 picks.
Okay, and then
And then
500.
rushing I had 500, and let's just say 6 touchdowns rushing.
Okay, split the
So
difference.
3,800, 3,700 all purpose, 20, 25, 26 touchdowns total, and 6 picks.
Right. Okay. I was looking. Jalen Hurts had 157 attempts, 605 yards last year, averaging 3.9. He had like 15 touchdowns, but we're not going to be using him at the goal line like that. And in 2021 and 2022, he had 784 rushing yards, 760 rushing yards in 15 games each.
Who?
Hurts. This is Jalen Hurts.
Good. Nice.
His average was higher, 5.6, 4.6. So yeah, and then let me just look at Lamar real quick. So let me see Lamar rushing. Coming out his 2019, 2020, he had 1,200 yards, 1,000 yards, and then 767, 764, 821 last year rushing, 5 touchdowns.
What about Mahomes? Where's Mahomes usually?
Let's see.
I would say that's a good baseline for Jayden Mahomes.
And to be fair, you want to make a disclaimer that you're not comparing him to Mahomes, right?
Yeah, not comparing. Yeah.
Mahomes is in the 300s, the mid to high 300s.
Yeah, see, I want Jayden in at 3 to 5.
That's where you want him. Yeah, that's fair. Let's look at Kyler because that's his offensive coordinator. So Kyler rushing, the first 3 years it was, first 4 years of his career, right? 544, 819 his second year, 423, 418. So let's just say the first 2 though, because he didn't play 16 games. So the first 3, so 819 his second year, he had 819 rushing yards, 133 attempts, 11 touchdowns. He was averaging 6.2 yards per carry. If Jayden comes out, and does something like that, 800 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns, that's hard to be mad out. It's hard to be mad at.
Yeah.
But okay, but I think I'll stick with mine. My passing for me was 3350, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and then 650 rushing and 7 touchdowns, putting him right about 4,000 total yards, passing and rushing, all purpose.
Right.
I think I feel pretty good about. If he puts up those numbers, combined passing and rushing, you got to feel good about what you got in him going forward. And then our last topic of conversation.
What do you think?
Go ahead.
Real quick, and we'll have to touch on this. Yeah. If that's his rookie year, what do you think he can get in his prime?
First of all, if that's his rookie year, I think he wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. Second of all, in his prime, I think he can throw for 4,000, 4,100 and run for maybe 500, 600, 700 and be close to 5,000 all purpose. Because I don't know if he'll be a 4,500, 5,000 yard passer, just because his legs are such a big part of his game.
Right.
I could see though maybe like a 4,200 yard passer and a 500 yard rusher, and he's close to 5,000 all purpose in the NFL.
Do you think he could have a Florida game at all in the NFL at any point during his career?
I do think he could.
That's crazy.
I do think maybe a notch down. What'd you say?
So he almost had 1,000 yards himself that game.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, 500 total yards? I think like a notch down, like the NFL version of that. But I think one of these teams that is just bad on defense and undisciplined.
Yeah.
Maybe a coach on the way out, that sort of thing. And it's just a horrible combination. And it's a blowout. Like they blow somebody out 42-49 to like
he had 600 yards against Florida that game.
Yeah, so I could see him having a game where he's got like 150 rushing yards and like 300 passing in the NFL. Something crazy, like a one-off though, right? Not a regular thing, but we're talking about in the course of his career.
Right, in the course of his career, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that, for sure. Like I said, these stats, I think we said, especially if they were to go 9-8, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh yeah, hands down.
Easily, probably, unless if Caleb just is on another level.
Yeah.
Last topic is your bold prediction About anything in particular. I've got mine. It is it's kind of crazy. But about anything in particular for the 2024 Washington Commanders.
I'm gonna say Luke McCaffrey. He has 850 receiving yards. I'm a big McCaffrey fan, man.
Yeah, you are LMC, LMC.
I'm he man. I think he's gonna be very special.
Mhm.
I think he's gonna have close to. I'm not gonna say 1,000, but I think he's gonna be like Terry his first year.
Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, that would be phenomenal. You
I
know,
think
that depth chart released today, and it had him as one, but there was another one that had
yeah,
Diami.
yeah.
As the starter opposite of Terry, wide receiver 2. I think it'll be Diami. You're making me want to change mine though, because mine was very similar, just with a different player.
Okay.
It was so I don't.
Good. You
I
got
think
to
I'm
go.
going to change. I think I'm going to. Huh?
Let's give two then. You give that one, and then because I got
Okay.
another one. Yeah,
All right, fine. Then mine was De'Ami Brown 1,000-yard season, and like that's a bold prediction. Like
that is.
that is a bold prediction, but I don't know. He might. I hope he's not fooling us again with the offseason and all of that. But this should be the best quarterback he's played with. Hopefully, the best system he's been in. He's clearly been working hard, um, wanting this opportunity. And I don't know. I don't know. Just that was that. It's a bold prediction. The
Both
thing
predict-
is, nowadays you don't need 1,000 yards to hit exactly 1,000 divided
Yeah.
by 17. You only need 58 yards per game.
Right. Right.
So it's not insane, but it is kind of still insane. That would be crazy. But that's why it's a bold prediction. It has to be very bold.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, you can do your second one, and then sure, I'll do mine.
Second one will be Brandon Coleman. Pro Bowl year as a rookie.
That is a bold. That's bolder than Diami.
As a rookie, because I think, and I could see it happening because as well as Jayden gets the ball, like if they go 9-8,
yeah,
and Jayden is getting the ball out quick, he's
yeah.
going to mask a lot of those offensive tackles.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for sure. And you have to.
And if they're out in the screen game and because the dude can move, and we haven't seen him, I think that it's possible he could have a Pro Bowl year.
Wow, that's a bold. I mean, but that's the fun of bold predictions.
That's the fun of it.
Yeah. One, they're so optimistic. Is he starting? You think he's? I mean, I know the depth chart said it. So you think he's legit starting?
Yeah, I do.
I think that. Sorry, this is like super quick off topic, but I think that this is not like Ron Rivera 2020 where he was actively trying to lose, and then it turned out the division was so bad. I think Peters and Quinn are not actively trying to lose, but I think they are content with it being a developmental year and then also seeing what they can do from there. Right. So that's why I think some of these young guys will get opportunities because they're not, they know they're not competing for Super Bowl this year. Being smart about it. My second one, which is also on the offensive side of the ball, we're all on offense, is that Brian Robinson has like a breakout. Yeah, I could breakout like. I think they're going to lean on the running game. I think they like him. I mean, like a 1,200, 1,300 yard, like 12, 13 touchdown season, like something just really, really good. And Austin Eckler also has a strong year rushing and receiving. But I'm going to say Brian Robinson, You
think we get 2,000 yard?
Maybe combined. Like maybe Brian B-Rob has 1,200, 1,300, Eckler has 700, something like that. I could see both 1,000 would be crazy. I mean, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. But I'm gonna say Brian Robinson like 1,300 yards and like 10 touchdowns or more. Just I like the way he runs, and I think that they're gonna run the ball quite a bit. So maybe that's not bold enough. I don't know. That might just be.
That's bold.
Prediction. Okay, all right.
If that happens, that will put him probably.
I have to remember exactly what his numbers were last year. Let me see.
That will put him as like a top 10 running back in the league.
For sure, yeah. Also, real quick, I'm super glad Antonio Gibson's not on the team anymore. Yeah, he had 733 last year. I mean, 4.1 average, 178 attempts. I'm saying if you give him 100 more attempts, 100 more attempts, 100 times. So, I mean, give him 100, 120 more attempts, a slightly better average, and plays all 17 games. Yeah, 733 in 15 games. So plays all 17 games. Yeah. Another 120, 150 attempts. Yeah, that's
we didn't even run last year. That's crazy.
You're right. That's right. I'm not thinking about that. Slipped my mind. You're right. We did not run the ball last year. We just didn't. It was
we could. That's the crazy thing. We were good at it.
Right. we could. You go back and watch the highlights from the season. It's like, dang, why didn't we do this more? And
Exactly.
and Sam Howell's like second in passing halfway through the season. People think he's like as good as Patrick
I
Mahomes, and you look at
know.
his attempts, and he has like more attempts, more passing attempts than Patrick Mahomes. Insanity. Well, I think this video has been longer than we planned, but hey, it's nice getting back to it. I think we had some good conversation, some fun stuff, the type of stuff I know I like to listen to. Do you have any last words? Just anything that's been on your mind or your heart, while we've been away?
Just the Adam Peters, man. Just the class, Lance Newmark, and
Yeah.
um, I mean, it's just Dan Quinn. I was just like the Dan Quinn, man. I think he was the right guy for the job. Going back,
Okay.
I know we
Yeah.
all wanted Ben Johnson, and we were all enamored with the
Ben Johnson.
young coordinator with tied with the quarterback and
Yeah.
rookie quarterback. But I think Dan Quinn, man, I really believe he's the right guy to lead the ship. I love how he's got the team together. You can just sense the continuity. You
Yeah.
can sense, I mean, even in the preseason games, players running down the sideline, cheering guys on.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
I
seeing
think,
that from Jayden Daniels.
yeah, from Jay, yeah, and I think it's just going to be a very close knit team, and I think he's building a brotherhood, like you said, and I believe,
Yeah. I think that we thought that Ron Rivera is building culture, and we're seeing what actually building
yeah,
culture looks like. Something
definitely,
that's impossible. Like, it's hard to build culture. Dan Snyder's still there, and then you just hired everyone from Carolina, and
yeah,
your trainer has getting rated by the DEA, and all these things. So I think this is a true build of culture.
yeah,
And so I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that like I'm not that I basically anything they've done this offseason where I what you would say I quote unquote don't agree with. I don't have an issue with anything they've
hmm
done
hmm
because I actually trust that they know what they're doing.
all right, yeah,
Whereas I haven't trusted in the past.
yeah,
We've figured it out. And so we'll see, of course, but I mean, Adam Peters is clearly a smart, experienced guy. Dan Quinn, smart, experienced. And so that's what gives you confidence going into the season
right,
after what we learned about the guys who were here before. So, yeah, I mean, I'm glad they turned the roster over the way they did.
yeah,
They
me
were
too,
horrible last year. I don't think anyone should be mad about anyone that's not on this team anymore because look at how bad they were last year.
right, right,
They turned over the roster. They turned over the coaching staff. I love that. And I'll leave you with this. I don't know when. I don't think it'll be like imminent, but I think at some point they're going to turn over the name and the logo and stuff too, because I think they want
mhm,
to wash away Dan Snyder, and I think that they attribute Commanders and all that to him. Anyway, that was not for the Redskins fans. That was just a little nugget. So that's all I've got, Tay. Um, yeah, every time we record, we say we're going to be consistent, and hopefully this time will be the time.
yeah. We can do game preview. We got Tampa this week, so
Yes,
look
yes,
out for the game
yeah,
preview.
yep,
So we're gonna look at matchups, players who could break
hmm
out this week, and
yeah,
um, score prediction. Who knows? Maybe we'll change our minds as we get closer throughout the week. But I'm looking
right,
forward to the game previews, man, and I'm pumped.
definitely, definitely. Me too. It's been great doing this again with you. Sorry, this is the free version of StreamYard. It was just easier. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And not forgetting about us. Hopefully,
Yeah,
and we will absolutely do our very best to continue producing quality content and hopefully doing film breakdowns and stuff. So, this is Todd.
this is Tay.
We'll see you. It's football season.